Good afternoon, folks. We'd like to welcome you to the March 25th, 2014 regular school board meeting for Richland School District 2. Thank you all for being here. For so many of you are here, and those who are in the, I guess I would call it the overflow room next door over there, thank you for joining us and being a part of our meeting. We apologize for somewhat of the delay. We had to accomplish an inordinate amount of work in our executive session, and so we apologize for our somewhat tardiness in returning. At this time, we're going to stand and have an inspirational moment and then the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to share an inspirational moment from a book that I have on my bookshelf that I enjoy reading occasionally, and it talks about faithfulness. It says, everyone talks about how loyal and faithful he is, but just try to find someone who really is. We all look for faithfulness in others as we go about our daily activities. We want the paper carrier to be reliable so that we can read the newspaper at our accustomed time with our usual cup of coffee. We want the mail carrier to be faithful when I mail a letter. I depend on the mail service to deliver it. I want the food at my favorite restaurant to be consistent from week to week. The most famous geyser in America is Old Faithful in Yellowstone National Park. It's not the biggest geyser in America, nor is it the most powerful. What makes a geyser famous is its faithfulness. It runs like clockwork, dependable. People appreciate dependability, even in a geyser. Do you have a reputation for being reliable? Would those who know you well stake their lives on your faithfulness? You may be talented, educated, and creative. But if you're not dependable, your talents are not worth much. Someone has said once, the greatest ability is dependability. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the current agenda.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Spector, second by Ms. Anderson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Turn my mic down a little bit, Jack. Ms. Carter. Jack, have him turn this down for me a little bit, please. Thank you. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Also, I meant to indicate earlier at the beginning of our meeting that Dr. Bill Fleming, our board member, was unable to be with us tonight and sends his regrets for not being able to join us. Next on our agenda is our consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Question. Not a question, but I have a correction.
Okay.
I did call Mrs. Council today on the agenda item that I asked for on the cursive writing. That should have been 3rd or 4th grade. It was not for 3rd and 4th grade. That has been made. I called her this morning or this afternoon sometimes, but I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that I did make that correction.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Actually, Mr. Jackson, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I need to rescind my second and request that we table ratification of personnel for the next meeting, please.
That's correct. So the motion at this time would then be to approve the consent agenda with the exception of ratification of personnel. Is there a motion to approve it?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Spector, second by Ms. Anderson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. At this time, we will have, next on our agenda is our special recognition. Dr. Ham.
Yes, I'd like to begin by calling on, I guess, Libby, you're going to start us. We've got lots of special recognitions tonight. We have some at the district level and some from the school, so we'll begin at the district level.
Thank you, Dr.
Libby
Ham.
Ruth.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Ham, and staff, and special guests, tonight we recognize members of our Richland 2 family who have accomplished great things. We'll call you forward, and board member Ms. Brill will come and present the certificates. First, let's begin with the Richland Northeast Model United Nations team. If the students here will come forward, along with their advisor, Lynn Washington, and principal Sabrina Suber.
While they're coming, Libby, will you go ahead and tell us what the award
Absolutely.
is?
As they make it their way up here, I would like to just say, wow. This is the 25th time Richland Northeast team has won the Award of Distinction, better known to us as first place. This year's conference was the largest in the history of the National School Model UN Conference, with more than 3,300 students from 25 states and 29 countries representing 182 delegations. And once again, Richland Northeast showed them how it's done. All of the members are listed on the screen, but we're going to ask advisor Lynn Washington to introduce the students who are with us tonight.
Okay, we have our president, Emily Nielsen. Next to her, Paxton Haven. Next to him is Dara Malachi. Then we have Kevin Odell and Kiana Alexander. And then we have Kaylee Medlin.
And I want to take a moment to give a special recognition to the Model UN advisor, Lynn Washington. For 31 years, she has put Richland Northeast and Richland 2 on the international map. She has helped teenagers develop the confidence to get up in front of thousands of fellow delegates to discuss globalization and debate world issues. And when these students leave the Model UN, they are well prepared to take on leadership roles. Thank you for your hard work, and congratulations to our winners. Ms. Suber, will you stay up front, and the students, y'all can exit over this way. And joining Ms. Suber now will be members of the Convergence Media Magnet Program at Richland Northeast and yearbook advisor Jenny Proctor. If they will make their way, here they come. As they come up, I will tell you that members of this archive yearbook staff won top state honors last fall and now recently at the Southern Interscholastic Press Association's annual convention. More than 400 students from 6 states competed, and our students and our yearbook won top honors. The students and their honors are posted on the screen, and we're going to ask Ms. Proctor to introduce her winning students.
Thank you. We have Hannah Hunsaker, Callie Powell, Yeji Bang, Whitney Lewis, and Brianna Ismail.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank y'all very much. Y'all can exit this way as you get a certificate. And Ms. Suber, don't go anywhere. I have another one of your award-winning students to bring forward. We'll ask Convergence Media student Whitney Lewis to come forward. There she is. Whitney won first place in the South Carolina Scholastic Press Association Fall Photography Competition, and you can see her photo entitled Grandfather's Pipe on the screen. Congratulations, Whitney. Thank you. I'm done, Ms. Suber. Thank you. We're going to stay with photography, though, and bring up Emily Barnes from Blythewood High School and her principal, Keith Price. Emily brought home a first-place award from the South Carolina Schools Photography Competition at Winthrop University, and her winning photography is entitled Swing. Congratulations, Emily. Thank you. Moving on, but staying with the arts, we have 15 high school students who won Gold Key Scholastic Art and Writing Awards in the 12-state Southern Regional Competition. Gold Key is the highest award artists can achieve at the various levels. We're going to introduce the schools and the principals and the students, and they'll all come up. But I will say that a lot of our students had prior commitments. This is a busy time of year with spring sports, concert festivals, and jobs. But we do want to celebrate their success. So principals and students will come up, and the principal, if your students aren't here but you are, you can come forward and represent them. And we'll stay up and take one group photograph at the end. Our first regional gold winner is Ben Campbell from Blythewood High School, and he is with us, and his principal, Keith Price. From Richland Northeast, Itai Almer is the recipient of not just one, but 2 Gold Key winners. Yvette Jones, Laura Pacheco, Ari Richards, who won 2 Gold Keys, and she won a national Gold Key, and Hannah Stewart, winner of 3 Gold Keys. And Ms. Suber, you can come back up if you'd like. Spring Valley students, Jediah Gist won a regional Gold Key and a national silver award. Hannah Gorman won 2 regional Gold Keys. Camilla Keaton, Alex Cole, regional Gold Key winner and national silver key winner, and Anna Pedigo. From Westwood High School, Jasmine Brown, Victoria Halton, who was another winner of 2 regional Gold Keys, Joshua Moore, and Samantha Sweet. Let's give a round of applause to these award-winning artists. Thank you. Mr. Schmidt, you can stay right there if you'd like. And we'll ask your top wrestler and Richland 2's top wrestler, Evan Kerrigan from Westwood High School, to come forward. And he is accompanied also by his coach, Ashley Powell. Evan won the Class 3A Wrestling State Championship for the 120-pound class. Kerrigan finished the season with a 58-1 record and did not lose to a single South Carolina competitor. He is the first Westwood male to win an individual state championship. Way to go, Evan. We will probably see him again. Okay, moving on to some of our staff awards. Mark Turner is the lead teacher for the Learning Collaborative at Dent Middle School, and we'll bring him up with his principal, Dr. David Basile. And we are recognizing Mark for being selected as a Bearing Teacher Ambassador. Educators who earn this honor have shown outstanding creativity, commitment, and inspiration in developing students' interest in history. For the last 20 years, Mark has worked with hundreds of students on district, state, and National History Day projects. He was awarded a $1,000 stipend for his participation and service as an ambassador. Congratulations. All right, our last but certainly not least, we're calling up the dynamic duo of Dr. Heidi Mills and Tim O'Keefe, along with Center for Inquiry lead teacher, Dr. Lynn Mueller. Heidi and Tim have been named the winners of the 2014 Outstanding Educator in the English Language Arts Award, given by the National Council of Teachers of English. This prestigious award recognizes distinguished national or international educators who have made major contributions to the field of language arts in elementary education. In the announcement, NCTE wrote, "There are few people in literacy education who have not been impacted by the work of Mills and O'Keefe. They have worked tirelessly across the past 3 decades to initiate, generate, and disseminate inquiry-based education. Congratulations, we are very proud of you."
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our student focus. Dr. Ham.
I'd like to present Alvera Butler, who will be presenting the students and the faculty here at Keels Elementary School. I can tell they're in the pink.
Good evening, everyone. We hope that you enjoy the highlights of Keels and our endeavors to move student learning forward. As you will be able to tell, student achievement is a top priority. Let me just begin by saying, would all of our faculty and staff please stand, and most of them are standing, I need to say that. Keels, raise your hand. You can see most of them with the pink shirts and black shirts for the males, but a lot of our staff members are here, so I just wanted to recognize them. These individuals work diligently and tirelessly to ensure that our students experience success, so thank you for all of your efforts. No amount of words can suffice for all that you do. Thanks for a great evening thus far, and enjoy our students. I will turn it over to them at this time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jacob, and I am a second grade student in Ms. Funderburg's class. I was elected as one of 2 second grade senators by my classmates.
Good evening. My name is Katrea Roberts, and I'm a 5th grade student in Ms. Sherwood's 5th grade class. I was selected as one of the 2 5th grade senators by my classmates. Jacob and I are representing the student council members of Joseph Keels.
All members of Keels Student Council participated in the campaign in September. We had to make posters and give campaign speeches for the whole entire student body to hear.
All the students in kindergarten through 5th grade participated in the election. We even used actual voting machines that adults used. Ms. Butler made an announcement over the loudspeaker, and that was the beginning of our journey.
As members of Student Council, we are the leaders of the school. We meet every 2 weeks to discuss leadership qualities as well as ways we can continue to be the leaders of the school.
We are so grateful for the opportunity to represent our school. Would all members of the student council that are present please stand and be recognized? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Miss Gilchrist, and I'm a 3rd grade teacher here at Joseph Keels. Tonight I come before you because I will be presenting to you our 3rd grade students, the 3rd grade students in my class, and we will be presenting 2 segments to you. We will highlight our CEL component because we are a school of entrepreneurial leadership, so we will be bringing to you our venture, which was Duct Tape Creations Incorporated. You will see the students as they stand. They have brought some of the product with them for you to see as they are standing giving their presentation this evening. We will also highlight a component called Gilchrist University. Because we strive for excellence at Keels as well as in my class, it came from a social studies lesson as we were studying South Carolina regions, and also to excel, ask our students to excel and strive for the best and look toward their future. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Ms. Gilchrist class presents Duct Tape Creations.
Please stand. Duct Tape Creations Incorporated, the planning stages. Let's get to work. We use resin, make wands, and felt. Everyone does their part. We have great products thanks to quality control.
We are ready for business.
We're all about the customer service. Show me the money. We all count the profit. What do we do at the university?
We teach and learn from each other.
We build and design we work hard at becoming masters of our craft. We are fully engaged when we learn. We use all of our available resources to help us find real meaning.
And we brought forth some of our products with us. So you can take it up there, Lewis, and show them some of our product quickly.
You can just go right around there. Keep on going. Hey there, let's see what you got. They're good keychains. Oh, you guys made them. Bracelets. It matches your dress. Got a clip somewhere in Carolina.
From duct tape.
And the belt, I'm gonna pass it down to the board members, okay? And you'll get it on the end.
They'll look at it.
Oh, thank you, keychains. Oh, man. Bracelets.
Those are keychains. Do some quality control there.
And this is all made with tape.
All made with duct tape. We even sold a few to adults. So this is a cool
Yeah,
one.
change, all right. These are wonderful.
Very good.
And this is, what do you, okay, you guys made this? What do you do?
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Jadaria Richburg, and I attend South Carolina State University. It is located in Orangeburg, South Carolina, in the Sand Hills region. I am majoring in math, and I am minoring in etymology. In the future, I would like to be an anesthesiologist.
All right, girl.
Good evening. My name is Hajar Janae. I attend Furman University located in Greenville in the Piedmont area. I have a minor in math, and in the future I would like to be a pediatrician.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Tamara Niles, and I attend Clemson University, which is located in the upstate of South Carolina. I'm currently minoring in math. In the future, I would like to be a math professor.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Carson Urban, and I attend Allen University. It is located in Columbia, South Carolina, which is in the Sand Hills region. And I am now currently a minor in math. In the future, I would like to be an entrepreneur.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Tania Glasgow. I attend Webster University in Myrtle Beach, located in the coastal zone. I am minoring in math and majoring in etymology. In the future, I would like to be an entrepreneur.
Good evening. My name is Jalea Smith, and I attend Clemson University, located in the upstate. I am currently majoring in math. In the future, I would like to be a teacher.
All right.
Good evening, school board members, teachers, parents, students, and all visitors. Welcome to Joseph Keels Elementary. My name is Madison Gray, and I am the 2013-2014 president of the Joseph Keels Junior Beta Club. I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you about the Beta Club here at Joseph Keels. In order to become a member of the Junior Beta Club, you must be a fifth grade student who has scored Met or exemplary on all parts of pass, and those who demonstrated good acts of character in addition to modeling our school's code of conduct. We are expected to set good examples for our peers and the younger grades here at Keels. Will all Beta Club members please stand? As the back of our t-shirts read, service, leadership, and character, we value this saying. This journey all began when there was a formal induction ceremony held in our honor in December. From that point on, we have modeled how to serve and give back.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Katron Dorsey, and I'm the 2013-2014 Vice President of the JKE Junior Beta Club. Our Beta Club has completed a variety of service projects. In December, my peers and I decided to show our appreciation for the staff here at Keels by stuffing goodie bags with sweet treats for the winter season. In February, we had a pancake breakfast fundraiser at Applebee's in which we interacted with the community and raised money for future Beta Club events. This month, our chapter is participating in the National Junior Beta Club March Madness. We will be asking for $1 donations that will go toward our scholarships for our fellow Beta Club members in high school. The school and the Beta Club member that collects the most donations will receive prizes and recognition. We have learned about giving back to the community and demonstrating character and leadership. We hope you have enjoyed listening to a few of our highlights as Beta Club members. Again, welcome to Keels.
Good evening. My name is Brisa Juarez Gomez, and I am a fourth grade student in Mr. Wilson's class. I was selected among students in fourth and fifth grade to participate in the JKE USC Strings Project Consortium. The Strings Consortium between Joseph Keels and USC is funded through a grant from the Hootie and Blowfish Foundation. We travel to USC every Tuesday and Thursday to learn how to play the violin. We are so grateful for this opportunity to learn the violin and to represent our school, Joseph Keels Elementary. We have only been playing since September and with our bows since mid-January. We hope you enjoy the performance we have prepared for you this evening.
Good evening. My name is Jaden Jeffrey, and I am in Mr. Bailey's 4th grade class. To start you off today, we'll be playing Mary Had a Little Cub.
Excellent job, young people. And just a reminder, they are doing a great job. This is their first year playing, and they just picked up their bows in January, and they started pizzicato. So we're very excited about their progress, and thank you to all the students who presented. I want to say special thanks to all of our JKE parents who are here tonight. Parents, if you're in the room, please stand up. Thank you so much for all of your support, because we would not be able to do the work we do with students every day without our parents. Special thanks to Dr. Gail Barnes. Dr. Barnes, raise your hand, from the University of South Carolina. She's the director of the Strings Project and a professor at the School of Music there. And graduate assistant, Ms. Anna Boyle, who is their teacher, one of their teachers, and played the piano with us. And also to Ms. Anna Howard, who you saw, well, you probably, that's a really older student there. She's an instructional assistant with us who's taken ownership of this project. She travels with the students weekly to USC on Tuesdays and Thursdays, provides them with their snack, makes sure that they get picked up, and does all of the particulars with organizing, and is even learning to play along with the students. So special thanks to Ms. Howard. And I'd also like to thank all those people who played significant roles in our program tonight for the school board, and Ms. Marlena Gore and Dr. Sandra Grant. Please stand, who are our student council sponsors. Ms. Jasmine Spain, who is a Beta Club sponsor. And the rest of the 5th grade teachers who are here, if you'd raise your hand, we'll work with Beta Club as well. Raise your hands, please. Thank you. And also, Ms. Tammy Gilchrist, 3rd grade teacher. And not sure if they're in the room, who helped make sure all the particulars were ready for you, board members, and Dr. Ham, and rest of the office, district office staff, our parent educator, Ms. Dara Smith, and Ms. Lynn Bookert, our student data coordinator. To my assistant principals, Dr. Tamara Roberts and Christy Worry, my admin assistant, Mr. George Simmons. And we also, I see we have our school foundation chair, Mr. Maceo Wiley. Would you stand, please, is in the room. Thank you, Mr. Wiley. And if I've missed anyone, please forgive me. But we just have a great team here at Keels, and I hope we've not taken too much of your time. But thank you for the opportunity to present what we do here at Joseph Keels Elementary, and welcome to our school. And if there's anything else we can do to make it a wonderful experience for you, please let us know. And thanks for being here at JKE, where everybody is born to be somebody. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Butler. Thank you, Ms. Butler, to you and your entire staff and for all that you're doing here at Keels. We certainly want to continue to support the efforts here at Keels as you work very diligently to make sure that the quality of the educational experience for kids at Joseph A. Keels is second to none. Thank you so very much for that. Young man from the Beta Club, make sure you see Mr. Manning and get your dollar from him. He wants to contribute to that, so you see him. At this time, we have public participation. We did not have anyone to sign up. However, if there's anyone from the audience who would like to come and address the board, feel free to do so at this time by coming to the podium up front. Seeing none, we thank you very much. If parents and students want to be excused, we'll certainly give you pause to be able to do that. If they'd like to be excused, we certainly understand that it's school night. And some parents want to stand and leave. Feel free to excuse yourself. We welcome you to stay, but you're welcome to leave if you'd like to do that as well. Again, thank you all, parents and students, very much for your participation tonight. As those who are leaving or exiting, and those, if there are any others who are in the extended room behind you, Dr. Davis, is there anybody behind you sitting over there? Please invite them to come and join us in the main auditorium area here if they would like to. There are now some vacant seats available here in the main building. Thank you very much for your patience, and those of you who had to sit next door, thank you for your understanding. At this time, the next agenda item is voting on executive session items. The chair will entertain a motion regarding student appeals.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Anderson.
I move, excuse me, student number 1, student number 2, student number 3, student number 4, student number 5, student number 6, student number 6. I'm ending there. I recommend that we return those students back to their home school on strict probation.
With any necessary conditions that may be associated with them, correct, Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Yes. It's been moved by Ms. Anderson that those students be returned to school on strict probation with any necessary conditions. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any further discussion? Yes, we're going to come back to the others, Jill. Yes. So students 1 through 6.
1 through 6.
Hearing no further discussion, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Mrs. Anderson?
The following students, student number 7, student number 8, and 9, I recommend they apply for Blythewood Academy.
So the motion is to deny the appeal?
To deny the appeal, and
Yes. Yes, sir.
and they apply for Blythewood Academy.
It's been moved by Ms. Anderson that those students 7, 8, and 9, that appeal be denied. Is there a second?
Second it.
Second by Ms. Brill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. That motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Ms. Anderson?
Student number 10, I move that we deny the appeal, recommend the student to return to Blythewood Academy on strict probation.
Moved by Ms. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Spector. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Yes, the addendum.
Mr. Chair, I move on the addendum, the student be allowed to return to the home school. However, the student will be on strict probation, and I recommend that we insist that the student attends Loredat.
Moved by Ms. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Under new business, no action requested. Report on the budget survey review team, Dr. Ham.
Actually, Dr. Miley will be introducing this item.
Yes, thank you. Do it from here? Okay. I'd like to introduce Penny Denini, who coordinated this effort with the survey from employees, and she has a group that participated and spent a lot of time reviewing the data, collecting the data, and compiling this report, along with Jeff Potts, who helped a great deal. So I'll turn it over to Penny.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think I'm a little taller. I, along with Jeff Potts, had the privilege of facilitating the budget survey review team. The members of the team, most of them are here. Tyler Abernathy, Danielle Allen, Danielle Allen, Ashley Bruton, he's not here tonight, he just had his second child on Sunday, Greta Carter, Cheryl Creel, Christy Haltwanger, Chuck Holland, Corey Jimenez, Gail Ross, Michael Sumter, and Denise Webster. The team has been meeting weekly since the end of February to review the general fund survey responses. The team reviewed over 75 pages of open-ended responses. They have had candid conversations. They've asked probing questions. They've researched to gain more information. The members of the team are here to highlight the recommendations based on the survey responses. I will turn it over to Tyler Abernathy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. And the first item that I would like to address from the survey is that of professional development. And what has been found over the years with the survey results is that some of the spending has been focused in a way that a lot of people have not been pleased with, and it's one where there's a lot of gratefulness for the amount of time and the amount of spending for professional development. The teachers, as well as other members of the staff of the district, appreciate that, and so there is a consistent desire to have more of that continue. But what is desired is the way in which it is funded, and a lot of that focuses on the trainer-training model, or of bringing the experts in. And if anything, to highlight, we have a lot of experts and innovators within our own district, and that is an untapped resource in some ways maybe we are not capitalizing on as much. And so from the survey results, that has been something that has been shared and valued. And so going forward, that is where the survey really seemed to focus, is how the money is spent and looking at ways within our own district to do that. The following items that we're going to address do come from these graph models, and they deal with free and reduced lunch status. And so what we have here is a graph showing basically all of our schools across our district, the low poverty level schools, the average level, and the high. And what largely we want you to focus on and see is the growth in the average reading as it's gone across. It has increased. The others have stayed relatively the same. And the reason why that will be addressed sort of in a variety of ways based on the survey results. These are our low poverty schools, and as you can see, it's designated by the different levels. You have your high poverty schools, and then lastly, your average poverty. And that is where there's been a dramatic increase from the areas in the 30% range, and some growing all above or close to 50%. The first area in which these graphs apply to is the area of field studies. And what has happened is the ability to do field studies has changed with the free and reduced application to how fees are applied. And to give you an example, to do an 8th grade field trip, which is for the open to the entire grade level, it would roughly 220 members of that 8th grade class would be eligible, $439. To do so, 86 students of a current class this year would be on either free or reduced status. 23 would be at reduced, which is only paying 40% of the cost, and then you would have 53 students who are completely free. That means they would not be charged any amount for the trip. With that being the case, the school would be responsible for this trip to fund $29,325.20. And to do that is incredibly difficult to be able to fundraise, and considering that this is just one grade level of an entire school, to provide these real-world authentic experiences is something that is difficult to be able to fund. And so what has been recommended by the survey results is seeing that fundraising is an issue, and being able to do the overnight trip experience is one that is very hard considering this. The other growing area was the concern for consistency in how schools are, how the money is collected. Essentially what some schools are doing, the models that they're using with perhaps a 3-letter approach to those that may be doing others. And so consistency across schools is something that was shown by the survey results for that. And so these are the two areas, and I'll now pass it off to Danielle for helping professionals. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. I'm Danielle Allen with Intervention Services, and this is Denise Webster with Special Services. Another main theme identified with the employee survey was the need to hire more helping professionals in general. Although the term interventionist was cited often, it was unclear if the respondents were referring to family intervention versus academic intervention versus behavioral intervention. And as you can see from this slide, the title interventionist applies to many roles within the district, and the renaming of these positions may be necessary just for clarification.
I agree with
And if it's confusing to you, it was very confusing to us as we reviewed the information. Oops, wrong way. Throughout the process of reviewing the staff survey responses, what became abundantly clear to our committee was that staff throughout Richland 2 recognizes that the makeup and needs of our student body has changed. The respondents repeatedly stressed the importance of supporting the whole child, academically, socially, behaviorally, mentally, physically, to prepare them to become productive members of our community. The committee also recognized that current staffing ratios for all individuals which are identified as helping professionals, such as guidance counselors, school psychologists, social workers, interventionists, intervention specialists, and mental health counselors, are not represented in our district at the recommended national levels. Furthermore, this understaffing frequently requires these professionals to spend significant portions of their day completing legally required documentation as opposed to serving and counseling our students. Additionally, it was recommended through the staff responses that different schools may require different staffing ratios based on the needs of their own particular school. Currently, as you can see from this slide, which identifies our low poverty index, average poverty index, and high poverty index schools, which Tyler alluded to earlier, that there are standard allocations for these positions based on our current available personnel. At this time, I'd like to introduce Christy Halterwanger from Pontiac.
Hey, I'm Christy Halterwanger. I'm the media specialist at Pontiac Elementary. And being the only media specialist on the committee, I was chosen to talk about one of the other areas of concern we found in the budget survey was that of funding for the media centers. In 2011-12, the funding for the media center was taken off the budget as a line item. And it was up to, at that point, the principals to use discretionary funds to help out the media centers, and of course resulting in inequity across the district. And of course, many of the older schools, it takes a little more for them to meet the standards. And in the handout that we had sent to you guys, I had a link in there for the South Carolina standards for school library resource collections. And again, I would encourage you to look at that. It details exactly where our libraries are supposed to be as far as at-risk, basic, up to exemplary. And many of our schools, well, some of our schools do fall into that at-risk category. And of course, Richland 2, that's not what we want for our schools. The average cost of a book is, on an elementary level, $19.03, whereas for the high schools, it jumps up to $20.82. And then, of course, middle schools would have the need for both of those types of books that are appropriate for younger children as well as appropriate for young adults. The e-books and digital resources in our district, of course, we're suffering there. As we go more to one-to-one technology, we need more of the digital resources, e-books, but we can't forget about our print sources as well. And so the high poverty schools have a hard time sometimes raising funds from the PTOs, where some of our newer schools possibly have stronger PTOs, and grants. We use money from grants, the DOD grants. Some of the DOD grants are going away this year, whereas some run out next year. So we use PTO funds, grants, principals' discretionary funds, book fairs, any type of fundraising that we can do in the media centers. And So all of that just results in the fact that in the survey, people would like to see the libraries back on a line item, back as a line item in the budget. We've also included in our report multiple responses regarding teacher incentives that were mentioned, but they were not mentioned as often as the priorities that we've discussed here tonight. And that is pretty much the conclusion of our survey results. And of course, if you have any questions, we will be glad to try our best to answer those.
Thank you. Board members, questions or comments? Ms. Spector.
Mr. Chair, I really don't have a question, but can you send that PowerPoint, have it sent to us?
Yes,
It's
we
just
certainly
different
can.
than what we have. It's really good information.
My question,
Ms. Anderson.
Mr. Chair, my question is, after you guys reviewed the results, did you come up with any ideas, particularly on the fundraiser for students, the trips and all that? Do you have any suggestions as how we may look at that?
As a budget survey team, that was not so much the focus of the discussion with where we got the feedback, but it was noted that those are conversations that need to happen because of, as found with the other issues of PTO in some schools, if they can't provide funding to help with books, it's definitely going to be difficult for a field trip. And so we did not get to the point of necessarily discussing possible solutions.
I just kind of wondered if after you saw that you have tossed some ideas around.
We certainly hope that there can be some discussions that can come from being able to share with you all this evening, that we can find some ways to fix that, because we don't want these students to miss out on real authentic learning that can come from.
Absolutely. Well, I thought it was a very thorough report when I read it, and I appreciated it. Some of the things that were in your report are things that I've talked about. Particularly, the numbers have increased on the social workers. And, I've really been pushing for social workers and nurses. But those numbers I see have increased with the amount that we should have versus what we do have. So hopefully we will be able to get a lot of those recommendations into the budget, particularly that the media center. I know that's one of the things Susan Brill has really been pushing for. So hopefully as we go through the budget process, we can come up with some innovative money. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Other questions or comments on the board? Mr. Manning.
Just a comment. I appreciate the time that you guys put into this. It's very meaningful to us as a board, and I know it's meaningful to the administration. They talk a lot about the effort that you guys put into this. Everyone that's involved with it, whether you filled out the survey or whether you collected the data and put it together, Jeff Potts and his team for all the work they do to help make that data into something meaningful, and we really do appreciate it. And I think it's a powerful voice that you guys have, and look forward to continuing to receive these year after year as we make these difficult decisions on budget. So thank you.
Other questions or comments from the board?
Just one comment,
Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Chair. That was perfect timing. Chrissy, thank you so much for that presentation on Media Center. And I just want to share this book with you. I went to a conference just a few weeks ago, and it's called Grandma's Biscuits. It's an African-American author, and I would love for us to have a discussion on getting some of our African-American authors into the schools and their books. And I know you mentioned that the average cost of a book is $19.03. Well, we can negotiate with this author, and we can get this book down to about $13 or $12, so I'd love to have that discussion. So thank you for pointing that out.
Call me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Other questions or comments on the board? Yes, Ms. Brill.
I just wanted to thank you and echo what the other board members have said. We do a priority list every year, so I feel like I've already talked to you all, because you're on my list. Every one of you, and appreciate the work and the time that you put into that, and it's really helpful for us to hear from you. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Other questions or comments from the board? Let me also say, echo what the board has said, and thank you very much for your hard work. I think what you talked about, Ms. Allen, is critically important, that there be some distinctions that helps us to make sure we understand the difference between behavioral intervention specialists, family intervention specialists. I am absolutely convinced that the role that the family intervention specialists play in involving the entire family in solving this child's problem is critical to the success of that child, not only being successful in school, but when they get out of school. So we need to make sure we're real clear about that as we move forward. Ms. Anderson was very clear a year or two ago when she pushed for social workers, and I feel just as passionate about pushing to make sure that there are family intervention specialists in place to address that whole child and the entire family. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is a proposed revisions for policy DA, the fiscal management goals, priority objectives. Dr. Ham.
This item actually deals with the fund balance, and Dr. Milo will be presenting this item as well.
Thank you.
Yes, the discussion on the fund balance we have in the board policy right now is that we carry a fund balance, a goal of between 7 and 15% of our operating budget. In discussions with the board, we suggest that it's been suggested that we edit that and change that from 7 to 15% to 7% to the equivalent of 2 months' operating budget of general fund. This is similar to the GFOA standards, and it broadens that range slightly and gives a little bit more cushion for the boards, for the district's operating fund balance.
Questions? Thank you, Dr. Malley. Questions or comments from the board? As you know, everyone was asking for this modification, so it looks like he has made that based upon our recommendations. Hearing none, we thank you very much for that report.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is our district choice options and overview of the 5-year review. Dr. Ham.
Yes, one of the things Richland 2 prides itself on is the wide range of choice options that we offer for our students, whether it's a choice of magnet programs or a choice of schools. We've got a long history of recognizing that students have different needs and interests and trying to address those through public school choice. From arts and science to physical activity and rigorous academics, we provide a range of choice opportunities that aren't commonly available elsewhere while maintaining solid academic programs in our core classes. Dr. McDaniel and his team have put together a report for you tonight in response to a board request for choice data. And this is actually just part of a process that will result in us bringing further information to you in the future about how we might improve our offerings. We've begun meeting with school principals to discuss our programs. We'll be adding this year's data when it's complete to the data you're receiving tonight. And we'll be evaluating programs from several perspectives, including but not limited to overall program quality, alignment across levels, alignment to district goals, program participation, program demand versus capacity, etc. Our plan is actually to come back to you in time to make recommendations that can be put in place for next year's choice enrollment period and programs for the 15-16 school year. So with that, I'll turn it over to the folks who work with choice and magnet programs.
Hi, I'm Dawn Whitlam.
I'm Don.
And we need to know that choice is very popular in our district, and with 5 primary types of choice. Do we need to change it? Okay. Sorry, get caught up with our slides here. We have 5 primary types of choice in the district. Right now, we have about 22% of students in Richland 2 that are attending a school other than their zone school. And about 40% of our students are in a magnet school or program. Some of them are attending a magnet school or program to which they're zoned. But with expanded choice, students can choose to apply to any school other than their residentially zoned school. Our magnet programs are 3 primary types. We have school-wide programs where every child that attends the school is considered a magnet student. You know, they have specific themes that are school-wide. We have standalone magnets, our centers, and these are smaller settings that are on a larger school campus. They don't have full facilities. They usually share a cafeteria, some other facilities with a larger school campus. Then we have our school within a school programs, which are a smaller school setting within the larger school itself. So you have a little separate entity that has a specialized focus. We have several of those. Some schools have more than one school within a school program. And then we have our charter school, which is different altogether, but standalone program that is housed at our W.A. Rogers Center and serves students from 9th grade to 12th grade.
Will Anderson, in case you guys don't know me, planning coordinator. I just want to talk a little bit about the what was in your packet, just to kind of let you know if you had any questions about that, how that was organized. I just want to give you all like a dashboard or snapshot of what the current information is at each program, a little 5-year history in terms of application data, some other data to show maybe some trends and show how the popularity of certain programs. And then we're going to take from that data and information the next steps that Dr. Ham stated. So that's some of the information that was in there. If you see, this is one snapshot of the ACE program. You've got the title at the top. In the right side underneath the title is just some current information that we put on each sheet. Underneath that is the description of each program. And then you've got the data I was mentioning. I just want to mention the map. Just shows all the students that attend that program and where they're all coming from. So I thought a pretty good little visual of giving you an idea of students, they're traveling that far for certain distances and kind of where they're centered around. But that's kind of an overview of the packet and of each sheet that you all should have received, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chair, it was a
Ms.
very good
Anderson.
report. It was friendly, reader friendly, so it was a good report. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Question, can you, and probably not tonight, Will or Don, but can you help provide some information for me and the board in the future on those magnet and choice programs where the criteria is not random selection, but interviews, to help us have a better understanding of sort of the makeup of those entering students and how those numbers are falling out in terms of just the overall composite of the students that are going through the interview process. My concern is not with the random selection, because that's the luck of the draw. My concern is in looking at those programs where it involves intervention through an interview or subjective selection. I won't objective selection, but by subjective means sometimes. I want to make sure that there's some real equity and fairness there in those programs where it's not just a random draw. So I'd like to ask you at some time in the future to take a look at that and bring back for me, if you will, just sort of, I know that there are other criteria dealing with siblings who are already in and that sort of thing, but I really would like to look at that just to see, the availability of new students getting opportunities in those schools, whether or not slots are opening up in those schools on a level or pace with the non-selected schools. So if you do that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. I just wanted to mention in our IB grants, as part of those grants for those, the evaluation of those, we do that for those, but those are lottery based, so that's something we're familiar with doing, so
Right.
we're happy to do that.
Thank you very much. Other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Manning.
I just want to make a comment. I had, asked us to look at our choice programs.
Yes, sir.
And this is a very good beginning.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate the work that y'all are doing. We have a lot more work to do to go through all of this and make sense out of it. And, look at which ones are underutilized, overutilized, and where we can make improvements across the district. I think you may have mentioned to meet our parents' and students' needs and demands as they are today with the changing population. So I appreciate this and look forward to the conversations that we're going to have on where this goes.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much, folks. Next on our agenda is the report on the STEAM grant. Dr. Ham?
We've been really fortunate to receive several major grants. One of them is this STEAM grant. I'm going to call on Dr. Bakutis to introduce the grant, and then I think we've got principals from the schools involved who are going to tell you more of the specifics at each of the schools that'll be recipients of these funds. Dr. Bakutis.
Yes.
Good evening, Chairman Jackson,
Good evening.
members of the board, Dr. Ham, colleagues and friends. I am really very pleased to be able to share this Full Steam Ahead grant with you. And on the next slide is just an overview of the program. If you recall, back in 2010, we received an international baccalaureate grant. That's the same grant that we received just recently in September 2013. When the application was announced in January, I did some research on the themes. I talked with, of course, Dawn Whitley and the executive staff and the superintendent to decide what types of schools would actually qualify for the grant, because there are strict, very strict things that are in the grant. Looking at the timeline, we decided on the schools. Dawn and I went to each school. We talked with the principal. We talked about, of course, line items for the budget. We talked about professional development, and we had a host of things that we wanted to put in our project design. And that came together. We were awarded, thankfully, in September of 2013. We have a magnet continuum, and I think that's what makes this grant really, really strong. We have vertical articulation occurring. At the middle school, those administrators are talking with the high school administrators. We are seeing elementary administrators saying, what do our students need to do to get ready for that middle school? So as you hear from the principals, you'll notice that there are certain threads that go through like a tapestry. And you'll hear a lot about our partners, as all grants have to have a lot of partners to really be funded. You all know that. I think the strongest collaboration that we have is really internal, because not only do I meet with the principals and those who are implementing it at the school level, but we also meet quarterly with Sue Millette and the academics team leaders, and they are just very supportive. We make sure that Common Core, yes, is still very strong, but we have instructional approaches that we are using, such as project-based learning, so it all just comes together beautifully. And I'd like for you to hear from some of our principals. We actually have our magnet lead, Miss Nancy Diggs. She's going to come up from Killian Elementary.
Thank you very much, and good evening. And thank you for this opportunity for us to be able to prepare tomorrow's leaders today. At Killian Elementary, we are a STEAM Leaders Academy, and we are building leaders on the K through 5 level in preparation for the middle and high school and college readiness programs. We start by looking at our approach to engineering through the curriculum of EIE, which is engineering is elementary. And some of our teachers have received training through EIE at the Boston Museum. So we are so very fortunate and blessed to have the opportunity to provide a lot of professional development as we develop our curriculum. With the EIE, it's a project-based learning curriculum in which the students are able to solve problems across the curriculum. Is very integrated with all of the content areas. We also utilize the Paxton Patterson curriculum in grades 3 through 5, and of course that continuum continues in the middle and high school level. So we're preparing our students that are going to be ready for middle and high school. We will also have in engineering a robotics lab, so we'll be able to compete with robotics and Legos at the same time. For arts, we'll have the strings, we have drums, we'll also have a graphic design with Mac computers for our related arts program. So all students in the school will be able to graphically design different types of programs in the arts. And we also have digital keyboarding for our students in the related arts and music. In science, we work with Dr. Stephen Thompson as well as Dr. Bridget Miller. Dr. Thompson is very experienced in working with the EIE grant as EIE curriculum as well as Dr. Miller, and they bring a lot of talent and ideas to the school. Dr. Thompson houses a class on campus, and these students, USC students, are practicum students, and they go into our classrooms and work with small groups of students to provide hands-on investigative studies. And all of these, everything is correlated, of course, with our Common Core and statewide standards. These students are very diligent. Dr. Thompson also works with co-teaching with some of our faculty and staff. He provides professional development also. And Dr. Miller is an expert in EIE. We thank you so much for providing us with a wonderful opportunity, giving us the ability to be defendable. Thank you.
If you step for a second, let's entertain some questions so we don't lose them.
Yes,
Board
sir.
members, questions or comments? I have one. At what point do you think you'll be fully scaled up at Killian, fully implementing the program you've just described?
Yes, sir. We, of course, were notified of the grant in October, so we have gone full steam ahead and full force with planning the curriculum. I would say that at the beginning of next year, and with professional development throughout the summer, and we are working overtime now, as always, to develop the curriculum and provide training, we will have at least a 90% capacity start at the beginning of the next academic school year.
So you mean August of this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I see the grant ends in 2016, so you've got barely 2 years. Actually not 2 years. I'm assuming, Dr. Bakutis, that if they have not expended all the funds by 2016, there's some carryover period that they can continue.
That is correct, and it's normal to have a one-year carryover.
Gotcha. Great. All right, great. Thank you so much. Other questions or comments on the board?
I've got a question for Dr. Bakutis. What I see there's some purpose to the grant. How do we what are we doing to measure that? What happens if we miss measurements, there are purpose for the grant? Can you talk a little bit about some of those characteristics?
Absolutely. We have as external evaluators Dr. Robert Johnson and Dr. Diane Monrad. They are our evaluation team, and they worked very closely with us to write our objectives. With the federal government, we have been working since September up until actually 2 weeks ago Friday to finalize those objectives. We are certain that with those objectives, even though if we do not meet them, they're not going to take our money away, but we think that they are achievable. If you'll notice, especially with the purpose, it deals specifically with academic achievement. At the federal level, they are aware that right now we are at pass, and that will change given the Common Core. The federal government understands that, especially the U.S. Department of Education. So it is in flux right now, but we would never be in any danger of losing any type of this funding.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about the academic achievement because I believe that it will.
Okay.
I believe one of the concerns that I see is the reduction of minority isolation in some of our schools. And when I look at the changing demographics of our district and I look at some of the locations that we have, I really wonder the reality. Are we seeing, do we have evidence to show that whole school programs like this are doing that in any of our other schools, and just make sure that we are, providing a realistic expectation and goal, and that we're not just putting this down on paper in order to try to receive some of these grants.
Absolutely, and I understand exactly where you're coming from, Mr. Manning. We do celebrate our diversity in Richland too, as always, and we are, as part of the grant, we do have funds specifically to recruit those students from private schools, those students who might be attending charter schools, those students who are virtually getting their education, because we do know that there are students living in our district who are not attending our schools. And so I see that as just being part of this grant. So we're trying to bring an excellent theme to those three schools and providing the continuum. And being in education for a long time, you know that it's just not the academics. It is the social, emotional, behavioral experience. And we are trying to tap those parents who are no longer or have never sent those students into our district. So we're looking at that recruiting. We're recruiting pretty heavily. If you've noticed our billboards, and Ralph I don't want to step on Ralph's toes, but he did send out some postcards in his zip code just to make sure. We all know that STEM is definite a problem, or we see our students are not excelling, especially in math and science. We know the research related to arts, and so if you have the STEAM curriculum and you're offering that, I think it's a win-win situation for the district, for the students, and for diversity too.
Yeah, I understand, all of that, and I'm on board, and part of the reason I ask about the diversity is because it is important for us to have diversity. I just want to, I would like to see if we've put this in some other grants where that's one of our goals, how effective has that been to do that? And are the things that we're doing to do that, the billboards and postcards, are those things, are they the most effective use of our dollars to do that? And so I just want some more background. I mean, I don't know all the right questions. You guys are the experts, so you can give me the information I need to get at what I'm asking for.
Well, and I can tell you that very question of how are we recruiting our marketing strategy, we're actually going to be looking at that as part of our evaluation of the entire project. So we do not have that yet because we've actually just started it. I can tell you that we have written grants for STEM, but we never have for STEAM. So
okay.
Stay tuned and we'll let you know. But we have an excellent evaluation team that we will be able to perhaps come back next year at this time and share the annual performance report with you, or specific parts of that. Would that help?
I mean, I think we're all interested in seeing the progress of the grant, and certainly the academic excellence. I believe in STEAM and STEM and all of those programs to increase that. So I'm not questioning that part of it. I was just that one particular piece because I think it is so important, and I think it's a challenge that we have, and so I'm very interested in that particular component of the grant. And then also, is this a grant that we can apply for again, or once we go through the 3 years, do we need to find the dollars in the district to maintain?
We can apply again. It would be a brand new offering. Right now, we do have the International Baccalaureate Grant. We have the 1-year extension, but we could apply for this one, and we received this one. Of course.
So it's not for the same programs, it's moving on to others.
It is moving on to others, or if we needed additional funding to help this project, I'm sure that we could write the application for that as well.
And as we go through, Dr. Ham, the magnet and the choice programs, I would hope that as we go forward with grants, so we look at how those strategically fit into our plan for that. I appreciate grants and what they do. I want to make sure it fits into a strategy and that we're not just going after grants for the sake of having grants.
Exactly, and we do have Dr. McDaniel has created a structure for that, where if there is a large federal grant that we are considering, I do meet with him and the executive staff as part of the project briefing group once a month. So we talk a lot about grants. We have a lot going on.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Bacuse, I certainly believe that all 26,900 students in District 2 can learn and learn at high level. So let me sort of put that on the record. So I'm confident that whatever students end up at the program at Killian will be successful. I want to ensure, though, that there are mechanisms in place for those students who may have some difficulty from a foundational level being able to be successful once they enroll in the STEAM program. Can you just briefly talk a little bit about that process being in place to make sure those students get the supplemental help or support they need to be successful and not have to choice out?
Absolutely. Well, as you know, because it is the magnet grant, there is not any type of criteria. It's the students are there at the school. We do have the USC professors at Killian who are helping the teachers. As far as direct support, we actually have another grant, which is an after-school program, where the students, I believe we use MAP and pass scores. So if those students are struggling academically, they do have an hour every day where they receive additional instruction.
Thank you very much. Other questions or comments on the board? Thank you very much. Next.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Angela Tom, principal at Longleaf Middle School, and I am very happy and excited to talk to you about LEAP. LEAP is what we are calling our school-wide magnet. Our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are part of LEAP, and we are full steam ahead as well. As I speak, you'll also, as we said earlier, hear a lot of things that are connected. Being the middle school, we are doing a lot of work and meetings and connection with the elementary as well as the high school to make sure that there is a tie-in there for our students. Our Paxton Patterson Action Lab. The Paxton Patterson Action Lab is something that we're very excited about. Traditionally, this is a class that has been in our middle schools, has served as a co-curricular class, a hands-on class that really emphasizes technology, engineering. It has a robotics part to it, electricity, just different things of that nature. However, we've been in contact and meeting with some of the representatives from Paxton Patterson to see if we can customize that to fit the needs of our students. So as we are addressing the students' needs through STEAM, we want to do so with the Paxton Patterson Lab, not as a separate unit, but within the science classes itself. We feel that that way we will have the support of the certified teacher to work with the students on their academics and will be able to adjust to meet their needs. As I said, the Paxton Patterson Lab has traditionally been one in middle schools that has been looked at through our co-curricular, which brings me to the arts in our LEAP. The co-curriculars at Longleaf Middle School is an expanded offering. We have art, advanced art, graphic design, chorus, advanced chorus, band, orchestra, dance, drama, Spanish, digital literacy, and physical education. Next year, we're hoping to also include musical keyboarding and honors band. We are excited about the different diverse art programs that we have to offer our students, and there's definitely an interest and support from them, from our students as well as their family. Of course, in everything that you do in school, you need partners. When you have those partners, you're making those connections to the community. The students can see that what they're doing within the school walls is making a connection outside of the school walls. So when we look at local and global connections, we definitely make sure that we have partners. We have been partnering with the Riverbank Zoo for a few years, and we're also strengthening our partnership with Adventure. They have some wonderful instructional opportunities that support STEAM, and that STEAM, of course, connecting to the STEM with the arts. They have educational opportunities that they can provide by coming to our school on site, as well as we can go to them and get even more. We have worked with Columbia Museum of Art this year. We've had them to come out and work with our students. Their latest focus was on an African-American photographer, Richard Roberts, where the students and teachers worked together through our arts classes, and they were able to look interpret, reflect on the art that was there, and also make connections as they went back in class and recreated from the images that they were able to study while with the representatives from the Columbia Museum of Arts. Another area that we've been working with to form partnerships, Charlie Bates Foundation, which is located in Atlanta, had a representative, Mr. Larry Metcalf, who also came out and worked with our students, our 8th grade students, and conducted a solar astronomy lesson with our teachers and students and gave an in-depth presentation there. Dr. Melina Smalls, also a nationally known actress and gospel singer, came and worked with us through a 2-day workshop through our social studies classes, and they did a study on the Gullah culture, and its impact on South Carolina history, and of course that was in support of the standards for South Carolina history for 8th grade. The culminating activity for that was that our 8th grade students actually did a presentation to our entire student body, and that was a wonderful treat for them as they were able to show what they know. We've had additional guests to come to our school, also in support of STEAM and LEAP. Actually, the last 2 guests that we came were Richland 2 graduates, Emery Scurry, an engineer from SCANA, as well as Christopher Coleman, an architect who came in and worked with our students during the math classes. LEAP is the umbrella that we are under at Longleaf Middle School. STEAM is the framework for teaching and learning that involves all discipline. And we have been on full steam ahead since we've gotten the grant, and we're loving it. Any questions?
Questions or comments from the board? Ms. Tom, how does this interact with, or does it interact at all with your Zubot program at Longleaf?
Zubot is our magnet within the magnet.
Right.
So those students are also LEAP students, but Zubot is its own individual magnet.
So no student can be in both programs, is what you're saying?
Actually, they would be. Any student, because the LEAP program or the Full Steam Ahead, it is a school-wide, that is everyone 6th through 8th. So those students, they get the focus of the Zubot program in addition to the LEAP. Everything that we're doing with LEAP. So the Paxton Patterson, those other things, they will have that as well.
Has LEAP started yet at your school?
We are in the process now, yes. With LEAP, it has started. We are building that foundation now. We're doing a lot of professional development, have some planning that's going on for the summer as well.
Students will enroll when?
Students, well, we let our students know that they are now part of LEAP because it is a school-wide magnet. And of course, with the choice and everything, we'll have even more students to come in specifically because of this program in August.
Thank you.
Was
Mr. Manning, then Ms. Anderson.
We talked about the vertical integration between these. So what are some of the things that changed about the requirements you have for students that come out of elementary to be prepared for your program?
When you talk of a change of coming from elementary to middle?
We talked, there was some talk about vertical integration, so the 3 of y'all are working together so that we have the continuum. So because of this program, what are some of the either changes or additions that you've taught to the elementary school and said our students need to be able to do this that's different than what they used to be, what you used to ask them to be ready for?
Well, one of the things we're focusing on is the engineering mindset. So we're talking more of the identifying a problem, the brainstorming, the design, building, the test, evaluation, and redesign. That part, the engineering mindset, will be something that'll be consistent. And that actually goes parallel, of course, with Common Core. You're explaining more, you're making more connections. Those things is a part of the STEAM, so those things will be consistent from elementary, middle, and high. So it's another layer on that Common Core. Some of the specifics that we've talked about since we've had the opportunity to have this grant funded, in particular, have been the Paxton Patterson Lab in the privileges that comes with. We're making sure that in the middle, that the things that we are looking at as far as the Paxton Patterson Lab, we do want to make sure that there's a little bit of a connection with what they've had in the elementary school, but also that it needs to line up with our standards as well. So we've done a lot of meeting and conversation on that as well.
And Mrs. Anderson?
My question was, and I was trying to review it to see so many programs probably missed it. Was that offered on the choice in January?
It was part of.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or comments on the board? Thank you very much, Ms. Jones.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good evening. I'm Ralph Schmidt, and it's a privilege to serve as principal of Westwood High School. And one of the things that really get us excited about is that, we're just off to our start. So some of the stuff that the STEAM grant has done for us has really helped us propel what we were already talking through as we had started our vision. I think there are three things that really become important to us at Westwood High School. And one is that we need to make sure that we're preparing each and every student academically for the 21st century and have those skills. The second thing is developing that key core of leaders and teaching those students learning how to lead where they're at. And the third thing is developing that community-minded citizen, that person who is going to go not only live in the community, but serve the community. And so when we started talking about the Institute of Research, Engagement, and Design, which is what we're calling our school-wide magnet, we wanted to focus on those ideas of research and what it means for the 21st century. Because when we start thinking about what we want our students to be able to do. We want them to be able to leave high school and know how to go out and frame the question, how to ask the right question, how to find the information, how to know it's really great, credible, good information, how to process it, most importantly, how to apply it to the real world problems and solutions. And so that is one of the big things that we're doing at school and throughout all of our curriculum, that every student is going to be able to start working with that. We've been talking with project-based education for the past year and a half, and that works very well with making sure our students are able to define those pieces. We're now working with starting to work with the Buck Institute to talk about, how do we continue to give our teachers that professional development that we can really look at project-based education. When we look at our Paxton Patterson engineering program, I just get really excited because, one of the things at the secondary level, our job is not to teach students to become engineers, but to help them explore the world of engineering or architecture or construction dynamics so that they'll know what it takes to go on to those universities and technical schools to get the formal education to do that. And one of the things that we did was we reached out, and Jack Carter and Mary Page Boyce helped us with Clemson University, and we've got an articulation agreement with Clemson when our students come through our Paxton Patterson courses and they pass a SolidWorks course that they get Clemson 101 3 hours credit right off the bat because it's a solid-based platform or SolidWorks platform that they use. We're trying to get that same memorandum of agreement with both the university and Midlands Tech, and it just gives our students a lot of a push in that direction. One of the things I'm extremely excited about was Westwood just competed in the first robotics competition. It's a national competition. Our students came away 34th with very little experience in robotics. And one of the things that when we start talking about partnerships is there's a lot of wealth out there that we can draw from engineers and architects and some of those firms that come in and be those mentors for our kids to help us. And one of the things I went down, I shot Dr. Ham a video of one of the competitions at Myrtle Beach, and it was so exciting to see these students just really get into that competition. And so you can see that, with the middle schools going robotics and where we're going, we want to continue to make sure that's an opportunity for our students. As we look at the word STEAM, that art stands out there. And, what a great way for kids to use their creativity and all is to be able to take some authentic works, research, and do some things. This past fall, our students did, our dance drama students did a project called Gullah Gumbo. And what they did was they wanted to learn more about the Gullah culture. So our students took a trip to Charleston and they interviewed many people of the Gullah culture, and they came back with these wonderful, authentic stories. And then they worked with a writing coach to write these stories down and to just put them in a written form. And then after that, they taught, what else can we do with these things? Well, then they turned those writings into a script. They turned them into a program where we brought in some consultants that taught us authentic dance, that taught us, some of the drama, and they wrote the most wonderful play called Gullah Gumbo, where they told the story of the Gullah people, and it was just an incredible. And we not only performed it for our parents and our students, we reached out to the elementary schools who came, and it was just an incredible performance that just really warmed my heart. But that was real, authentic student work, and that was so important. That was the things they targeted in on. And finally, our partnerships, we just get so excited. One of the things I'm truly excited about was we signed a memorandum of agreement with Apprenticeship Carolina, who comes in and looks at all of our career and technology courses, helps us align them with companies out there that we can find those apprenticeships for our students and get them actually out into the real world of work using those skills they're learning in these courses. Some of them are going to become paid internships. We've had one student who worked with Pure Power. What an incredible lesson that he learned, going there. So we're just really reaching out to that. We've got other partnerships. We're working with Alliance Pickens, to see what they're doing in their community to get their students inside those places where businesses are. So we're just excited about the many opportunities that'll give us. And finally, we are working with the Buck Institute this summer, hopefully to provide us some professional development for our teachers to really look at what we're doing with project-based and this idea of research and how we can just, keep it moving in the 21st century.
Questions, comments from the board?
So, Ralph, how does
Manning.
the grant specifically help you with the partnerships that you talked about? Because you talked about the arts program was last year that they did that. So how did the STEAM grant specifically, how are you applying that specifically to move your school forward?
Yeah, and I think one of the big things is some of these ideas we were moving forward with before we got the grant, and we were able to participate in writing that grant. And one of the big things it gives us is the ability to get the professional development for our teachers. It gives us the ability to kind of stretch some of the things that we have through dollars. I'll give you an example. For our Convergence Media program, which, Mr. Jackson, you came out and hosted, and you did an excellent job. You're a natural, by the way. One of the things that really got us excited is that we're able to take some of this STEAM money and go to the next level with that. So it's given us the ability to purchase a slow motion machine that we can take what we're doing with our sports broadcasting program and really take it to another level. So, the dollars really do help us kind of do that. And I think one of the things that really excites me is that sometimes we get a grant and we have to make the grant fit to what we're doing. In our case, since we were just coming out of the box, we were able to design the grant to really fit what we were wanting to do and where we're going.
Other questions, comments from the board? Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the agenda items for our April 9th meeting at Polo Road. Dr. Ham.
Yeah, I think the most important thing maybe in this list is to mention it is April 9th, which is a Wednesday instead of our usual Tuesday meeting day. So it's April 9th, Wednesday at Polo Road. We'll begin with a 5 o'clock public hearing on the budget. There'll be a faculty focus. The board will hear a proposal for the 14-15 general fund budget. We'll be bringing the policy DA on fiscal management goals and priority objectives for approval, and a report on the Race to the Top grant, which is another large grant that the district was fortunate to receive. It's going to be postponed.
Okay. Are there any other additional items that the board would like to request to be on the agenda for this meeting or a subsequent board meeting?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Manning, and then Ms. Johnson.
Okay,
Sorry, Dr. Hammer, I heard you say that the central registration was going to be postponed.
we'd like to do it on the 29th.
Okay. I was at a session today, and they talked about district funding and how it's changing based off the governor's proviso, which looks like it's getting a lot of steam. And I think central registration is going to be key in our funding status going forward, because the free reduced lunch is a big factor in our funding on a go-forward basis. And so I'm very interested, because that was one of the goals of the central registration, was to better identify the needs of families as they came through, if I remember when we first talked about that. So I want to make sure that doesn't get pushed too far, because they're going to be looking, my understanding is, at some of this year's numbers to make that determination for next year. And so really want to make sure that we're moving forward with that, and that's going to help us with our funding as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Ms. Johnson, and then Ms. Anderson. Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I have two items. I noticed that Andre Barnes is sitting out here, and he's the young man from Blythewood Academy that we sent to the conference for domestic violence. Mr. Barnes, would you stand, because I'm not sure if all the board members know who you are. And I would love for Mr. Barnes to come and present on what he learned from domestic violence conference. So I'd love to add him to the agenda for next month.
Thank
Mr.
you very
Barnes,
much.
I hope your schedule will allow you to be with us.
It will now that you've invited him.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And the second thing, I just want to go back to my book again. I want to really focus on this because this is one of our African-American authors who have published an AR book. We don't have too many African-American authors who publish AR books, so I love for us to really talk seriously about getting some of these books in our elementary school.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson.
And his name is Robert Little.
I'd love to have one of those myself. I enjoy reading to elementary kids, and I'm always looking for more books to use in my repertoire, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Ms. Anderson.
I just want to reiterate on the cursive writing. I'm not sure if you guys have heard that the legislators are looking at putting that back into the curriculum. And also there's a district in South Carolina that's already implementing cursive in schools. So that's very important and dear that we get that on the agenda as soon as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Other items from the board? Thank you very much. Next is our second public participation session. No one signed up for this as well. However, if there's anyone in the audience who'd like to address the board, feel free to come to the podium at this time and share with us your thoughts or comments. Seeing none, thank you very much. This time, our final agenda item is board and superintendent comments. I'll start with you, Ms. Johnson.
Okay, just a few things. I'd like to say thank you to the students and teachers here at Keels, especially in the Gill Creek University and the Beta Club. And also, I had the opportunity to participate in Ridgeview Career Day. It was one of the best I've seen in some time. So I want to just say thank you to Mrs. Mack for that. And Mrs. Butler, thank you for allowing us to be here this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Brill?
Thank you to Alvera Butler and all the students here. You're doing a great job, and it certainly is impressive. Where's Alvera? Barbara and I like the pink shirts. They look good. And the students with the strings, I think that really is exciting. And I heard it was from Hootie and the Blowfish. Grant. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And the students were really serious about it and doing a great job. I played the violin for 7 years. I know. They're going to be good. Some of them are going to be very good. So thank you so much. And thank you to Arlene Bakutas for all your hard work and doing wonders, making things happen. And I appreciate all the principals' presentations. That was interesting and exciting. We appreciate the work you do for us.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Ms. Spector? Thank you, Ms. Spector. Mr. Manning?
Just echo the sentiments. Great presentations. I love Miss Gilchrist's work that she did with her students. We need a lot more quality control and customer service, a lot of aspects of our lives, so I'm glad to see we're making progress at an early age. Also want to, again, recognize Richland Northeast High School for last year. They won, the SIC won the Dick and Tunky Riley Award, and Ridgeview this year was a finalist, and I was there to see them. They didn't quite make it, but nonetheless, they're still winners in my book for the hard work that they're doing. And for all of our SICs, we appreciate the effort that our parents and community members provide to help make our schools and our district better and our students' lives. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Mrs. Anderson?
Kudos to all what my other fellow board members have already stated. To Mrs. Butler and your staff, school looks great, and the students were absolutely wonderful. And the violinist that played proves that every child is capable of learning. regardless to what their social economic backgrounds are, they can rise to the occasion. And my heart was certainly thrilled to see them tonight performing. Also, I was able to attend the town hall meeting on the Affordable Care Act that Representative Butler McLeod held, and our past representative Antoine Gunn delivered that awesome presentation on the Affordable Care Act. It was just a shame that the church was not full. South Carolinians are at the bottom of the list of signing up for the Affordable Care Act. People have until the 31st to get this done. And what I learned, people are not signing up because they're afraid that it's costing too much money. But there were some young people there last night, and all age people. Some are only paying $12 per month for the premiums that they're getting. One person, I think, was it, Andre, help me with my mind, was it $6 someone was paying? $7. But they had the counselors there, people were signing up. It was an awesome, and the examples he gave is you have cell phones with insurance, you have cars with insurance, but what about your lives with insurance? Things can happen in the blink of an eye, and if you're not insured, gave an example that just to break an arm or a leg would cost you $7,500, and that's not including a day in the hospital. So please encourage people that you know. One example he gave was to use your text, just go through your text phone, your email on your phone, and text everybody and encourage them to go and sign up for the Affordable Care Act. There's so many untruths that are being spread about the Affordable Care Act. You need to experience it for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Dr. Ham.
Yeah, I too want to thank Keels and Elvira Butler for hosting the meeting tonight. I loved hearing the kids talk about what college they were at and what their career aspirations are. I think that's wonderful that they're thinking about that as elementary students. And the strings kids, that they were just starting to do that in January. I thought their talent was just great. So that was wonderful. Couldn't help but smile. I want to congratulate Ridgeview. I too was there on Saturday. They were one of 5 state finalists. I think congratulations to them for being their School Improvement Council for being finalists for the Dick and Tunkey Riley Award for School Improvement Council Excellence. Cindy Stone, who's Lonnie B. Nelson's cafeteria manager, she and her husband and her son, they all shaved their heads on Friday in honor of her late mother for all children who have cancer. It was part of the St. Baldrick's Foundation fundraiser, and I think that's great. I don't think I could have shaved my head like that, so my hat's off to them. My hair isn't, I guess, but congratulations to them for doing that. You know, lots of times our staff just does amazing things for other people, and I think that's the sign of the heart that we have in this school district. So I wanted to be sure and mention that. And then the last thing is Richland 2 has been accepted to be part of Digital Promise, the League of Innovative Schools, and I'm really proud. That's a group of 50 schools nationwide that are really committed to researching and continuing the improvements in how mainly schools innovate teaching and learning through the use of technology. And it's really sort of the best of the best around the country, sharing how we can improve how we do that. And it's a new field. I'm really excited about networking with those folks and finding out how we've been leaders in the country, but how we can do what we do even better. So anyway, I'll be leaving to meet with people from around the country tomorrow, and I'm excited about what we'll learn and the contribution we as Richland 2 can make.
Thank you, Dr. Ham. I certainly want to echo all the comments that have been made by my fellow board members, and certainly want to applaud all of the excellent work by those individuals, both students and teachers in our district, who are doing such a fantastic job. It simply signifies that, in fact, Richland 2 is continuing to pursue excellence for all of our students, faculty, and staff. Had the opportunity last night to attend the District Ed Foundation Board meeting, and want my fellow board members to know that the District Ed Foundation wants to work with us as we develop our goals, so that their goals for the District Ed Foundation will be consistent with the work that we're doing. And so I applaud them for their willingness to be consistent and aligned with what we are attempting to do as a board. I want to thank the budget survey review team that presented tonight. Tremendous challenge that you have, but thank you very much. I certainly want to echo the statement that Ms. Anderson made. I had written the same note here. Appreciate those observations, and certainly hope that we will now take it to the next step of developing recommendations of ways that we can address some of those critical issues, particularly the field studies. Certainly would hate to see any student denied the opportunity and experience because he or she could not afford to be a part of that. Thank those principals for your presentations on the STEAM effort, and Dr. Bakudas on the grant. I certainly hope that as that gears up and we get data next year, we'll be as excited next year about the results as we are today and tonight. And certainly, as everyone knows, a choice campaign is on now, and so many of our fellow board members have been contacted, and we certainly have no real say or leeway in that process, and want to reiterate that, and certainly wish all of those who have been accepted in their first or second choice congratulations, and those that are on the waiting list, we wish you the best as maybe others change their mind and open up a slot for you. It simply indicates the demand out there and the interest out there by all the students and families in our district to be enrolled in these outstanding magnet programs. Thank you very much. If there's nothing else from anyone else at this time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Pick your pick, Jill. Who you think said it? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.